What if Thor, the mighty god of thunder, was crushed by Godzilla in just 3 seconds? Sounds like a joke, right? But Marvel has just made it real. In Godzilla vs. Thor Issue 1, one of the most catastrophic events in the Marvel Universe has begun, and it could spell the end for all the gods. The story opens in Japan, deep within a forgotten forest nestled in a nameless valley. Here, the High Priestess of the Hand has summoned some of the world's deadliest killers. As they gather around an ancient stone altar, she begins a dark and chilling sermon. In the beginning, there were gods, oh so many gods. Then came the beast, to defile all the gods had made, one blessed slaying at a time. Welcome to the citadel of the hand. To the hand, death is more than an act. It's an art, a sacred practice, and no one has mastered that art like their deadly ninja. Yet, for all their blood-stained history, the organization remains incomplete, without a leader. The priestess reveals that she spent years searching for what she calls the true fist of the monster, someone who could lead the hand into a new era of destruction. For a time, she believed that person was Frank Castle, the Punisher, a legendary killer. But in the end, he failed to live up to her vision. He was a disappointment. One of the assassins dares to ask, "You want us to kill for you, that it? Why don't you just say so?" The priestess only laughs coldly. "None of you pathetic creatures are worthy of being the beast's fist. I only need you to die." With that, she draws her blade, and what follows is exactly what you'd expect, a massacre. As the carnage unfolds, her voice returns in narration. She admits that all these years, she had been searching in the wrong place. The answer wasn't a man, it was a monster. A creature born from the blood of killers, fed by the restless souls of those lost in war. A force so terrifying, the very ground shakes at its return. And then, with a voice like thunder, she calls out, "Rise, Godzilla, king of the monsters, king of all killers." In Tokyo, Godzilla emerges once more. Panic spreads like wildfire. People flee in every direction as buildings collapse and the skies darken. Godzilla tears through the city like a wrathful god, unstoppable and merciless. The monster has returned, and the gods have every reason to be afraid. The priestess tells a story the world has long forgotten. 2 decades ago, after Godzilla's rampage through Yokohama, the world believed the beast was finally dead. Its body was obliterated. Nothing remained but a scorched, blackened heart resting at the bottom of the sea. But that heart never stopped beating. It pulsed with rage. The rage of souls lost at Guadalcanal, the fury of the fallen from Iwo Jima, and the pain of those who perished on the blood-soaked shores of Okinawa. A rage powerful enough to level cities, split continents, and shake the earth to its core. In a near trance, the priestess whispers, "In the name of all that is unholy, look at it and tell me, have you ever seen anything so beautiful?" But just as she's lost in her worship, a new force arrives. From above the clouds, thunder cracks open the sky. A hammer streaks down like a lightning bolt. And in a flash of divine fury, the god of thunder descends. Thor, now the Allfather of Asgard, has heard the desperate cries rising from Tokyo. From the golden halls of Asgard, he senses the danger. But what stands before him is no ordinary beast. It's a dragon, massive and unrelenting, with eyes as cold and dead as space, and a breath like molten fire. As the god of war and storms, Thor doesn't seek diplomacy. He never has. He doesn't hesitate. He lifts Mjolnir to the sky and calls upon the storms of Midgard. Storms of Midgard, heed the call of your All-Father. Wherever this creature treads, on land or under the sea, destruction follows. So let us take him where he can do no damage. And with that, the battle begins. Above the burning skyline of Tokyo, god and monster collide. The clouds ignite. The sky tears open like a wound. Fire rains from above. Ash and divine blood spill from the heights of Mount Fuji to the northernmost edge of the earth. Thunder roars. Godzilla bellows. And the world trembles. Their war lasts for hours, a battle between an unkillable monster and a god who cannot be defeated. But even as they clash, a question remains: which immortal force will claim victory? And even more important, how long can Earth survive a war between beings who were never meant to share the same world? As the battle raged on, Thor began to realize something troubling. This wasn't going to be a fight he could easily win. He roared in frustration. By Odin's bloody beard, Mjolnir has riddled this creature with more holes than there are knots on Yggdrasil. Surely now it must fall. But no, Just as Thor believed he had struck the final blow, Godzilla let out a thunderous roar and rose once more, completely unfazed. From afar, the High Priestess watched with satisfaction. "Magnificent," she whispered. "Stronger than when it slew Mothra and King Ghidorah, the last of the guardian monsters. Truly, the power of the beast gushes through its veins. Godzilla cannot die. Keep praying, you bastards." Pushed to his limit, Thor made a decision. If brute force couldn't stop Godzilla, he'd resort to something far more absolute. He opened a portal to Jotunheim, the realm of eternal ice. There, Thor unleashed a powerful incantation, summoning a wave of frost that engulfed Godzilla from head to tail. The beast was completely frozen, sealed inside layers of enchanted ice. Weeks passed. Godzilla remained trapped. Japan's self-defense forces set up a high-security perimeter around the frozen titan. The site was under constant surveillance, guarded day and night. The situation sparked major controversy in the scientific community. Some pushed to study the creature, others demanded its immediate destruction. Thor himself proposed a far more drastic solution: hurl it into the sun. But none of this was a real solution. All they had done was buy time. Time for the one who orchestrated everything, the High Priestess of the Hand. While Thor and the Japanese government focused on containment, the Hand was already preparing their next move. When the moment came, they struck fast, eliminating every guard with surgical precision. And that's when the true scope of their plan became clear. The Hand hadn't just been studying Godzilla. They had also been studying Thor. They compiled every major threat Thor had ever faced and overcome. The world serpent of Ragnarok, Malekith, Lord of the Dark Elves who once ignited the War of the Nine Realms, Thanos, destroyer of worlds, Tyrannos, Mangog, the living embodiment of all divine hatred. Thor defeated them all. To many, that made him the greatest god of all. But the High Priestess had a different view. Because there was still one name, one enemy, that had left a deeper wound than any other. Someone unlike any god or monster Thor had ever faced. Someone who didn't just challenge gods, he killed them. A godslayer. And then, the Hand opened an ancient box. Inside it lay a pitch-black fragment, an artifact long believed to be destroyed forever. "My ninjas have returned from the vault of the Collector," the High Priestess declared. There they retrieved the last known sliver of All Black, the Necrosword. All Black. The weapon once wielded by Gore the God Butcher, a blade forged for a single purpose, slaughtering gods. Elsewhere, Thor returned to Asgard. But as he arrived, something was wrong. Suspended mid-air, her body broken and bloodied, was Sif, her eyes wide with urgency. Thor rushed to her side, demanding answers. But she could only speak a single sentence. "He came, without warning, could not be stopped. All-Father, avenge us." Those were the final words to echo across the halls of Asgard. And then Thor saw the devastation for himself, a sight beyond belief. A realm of gods reduced to ash and ruin. What could have caused such destruction? Then it came. A roar. Not a sound of anger or pain, but of finality. It ripped through the very fabric of reality, freezing the blood in Thor's veins. It was the voice of the monster that burned and crushed the greatest divine realm in existence. A creature now empowered by the same god-killing weapon that once laid waste to pantheons. Standing before Thor was Godzilla, reborn as the new Godslayer, and wielding the power of All Black, the Necrosword. The battle resumed, no longer bound to Midgard. Their fight tore across realms, smashing through the branches of Yggdrasil like a black meteor trailing fire and fury. The gods of Asgard had already fallen, but there was no time left to mourn. There was no room for thunder today, only fire. And so, one question lingered. Is there anything left inside Godzilla's mind? Anything beyond primal rage? Its eyes, black and soulless, gave nothing away. No thought, no emotion, just pure destruction. And then it happened. Godzilla unleashed a blast of blackened death, a necrotic breath that could scorch entire worlds and burn through the gates of heaven itself. And in that instant, Thor swore he saw something. Godzilla was smiling. But Thor has never been one to surrender. He rose, shouting, "Though Asgard be no more, one Asgardian yet lives." And when the thunder god calls for vengeance, every storm in existence must answer. Across all realms, from every dimension and timeline, storms answered. Solar flares, cosmic hurricanes, lightning from the edges of creation, all converging on one point, Thor. They merged into a single force, a storm unlike any before, a galactic tempest, massive enough to eclipse entire star systems. Thor named it the All-Storm, the ultimate fury of the heavens, a storm so intense it nearly tore his godly body apart. And yet, Godzilla still stood. Thor advanced, thunder roaring at his back. "Fall, you beast! By all that is holy, why will you not?" But the only answer was Godzilla's crushing bite. Even wounded, Thor refused to yield. From the rubble he rose one final time, summoning every last ounce of divine strength. He screamed into the storm, "This will be the end of you, Godzilla. This I swear on the blood of the gods." Thor gripped Mjolnir, channeling the full force of the All-Storm into one last blow. Before striking, he paused, offering a quiet farewell to the weapon that had been with him through countless battles. "For one last flight. Thank you, Mjolnir, for the wonders you have shown me, my friend." And then, with lightning in his veins and the fury of the cosmos in his heart, Thor roared, "Godzilla, see you in hell." After that final blow, the scene shifts across light years of space. At the stronghold of the hand, the High Priestess stands still. She feels it, the ripple of loss spreading across the cosmos. Without a word, she turns away, disappearing into the ancient forest behind the temple. And from that moment on, she is never seen again. Far beyond, in the halls of Valhalla, the resting place of fallen warriors, the gods sing a triumphant song. They welcome the souls of those who died in glory. The air is filled with celebration and silence, because even in this sacred place, they know the battle isn't truly over. A voice echoes, "I hear you, beast. This is what we are now, for eternity. So be it." The vision descends into the underworld, to a battlefield forged in death and fire. There, the war between Thor and Godzilla rages on, endlessly. With every dawn in the realm of the dead, the fight begins anew, relentless, unyielding. A battle without end, stretching into the edges of time itself. But death is not the end. Every Ragnarok is only the beginning. Somewhere in the stars, the shattered pieces of Mjolnir begin to drift closer, slowly pulling themselves back together. And a voice returns, "Yet what is death? Every Ragnarok is but a new beginning, for stories yet untold, God to be reborn down through the ages, and monsters who will never die."